Welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose, day number 2 of 4. Over the next 3 more days, we'll find out who's going to be crowned our first ever San Jose, and it'll be done live in the SAP Center in San Jose, the SAP Center. It's a fantastic arena that we're going to be heading off to at the weekend. But for now, we're in Burbank to start off the round of 16. We're actually going to take you through all 4 days worth of coverage. If you weren't with us yesterday, we had Open Bracket 1 and Open Bracket 2, where 6 players qualified through to the round of 16. Today we'll focus on that round of 16 with the first 2 group games from each of the 4 groups. Saturday we'll move on to group play, so you get a day off on Friday, enjoy it. And then on Sunday we'll crown our first ever San Jose champion. It's promising to be a fantastic few days of StarCraft 2 action. Apollo's with me on the couch once more. Just looking back on yesterday, having that 6 spots available meant that we maybe got a few players in that we didn't expect, or do you feel like it went as we thought it would?
I think if you look at the results of yesterday, the 6 players were players that everyone thought would go through. There was no surprises in terms of that, but there was definitely surprises when it came to down to who played well and who didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Open Bracket 1, I think the standout player that didn't make it through probably Intense, showing us some great games yesterday. Took HuK to 3 matches as well in the lower bracket, but in the end, HuK managing to make his way through. He'll be in the round of 16 today. And he was joined by Super and Gummio, and Gummio looked pretty good yesterday. Overall,
yeah, really good. Yeah. Really good. And I don't think he was challenged yet, but today it's going to be the day where he is.
And at the top of the bracket in Open Bracket 2 was True, who came through after winning all 3 of his matches, but they weren't as straightforward as we thought they would be. All of them 2-1. Were you surprised by that? I wouldn't say struggled, but just the fact that he lost a map in every game.
Yeah, it summarizes his career, because I think True is a world-class Zerg player, but in recent times he's been struggling and getting a lot of wins and is underperforming for sure. And seeing him advance through, expected. Seeing him advance 2-1, a little bit expected as well, because he is a little bit underperforming. If he wants to do well in this tournament, he has to step it up further than yesterday. And
then also in that group, in the open bracket, was Revival, former Intel Extreme Masters champion, of course. He came through in second. And then third was a clash, really. We thought and maybe hoped as foreigners, as Europeans, that maybe Harston could squeak through there, but just fell short at the last hurdle to some great play by Symbol.
Yeah, he really surprised the players in the group, in the bracket, should I say, when he started off the day. But the Koreans are very, very good at adapting to whatever they face and whatever they lose to originally. If they lose to something and they have to play it again 3 or 4 times in a row, that's when they come back and they actually easily beat it usually.
Yeah, we've started to dub it the Korean reverse curse, because they never seem to lose that second game. I don't know what it is. It's a very crazy thing indeed. We're going to take a look at the 16 players who have made it through to the groups now. There are 4 groups of 4. It's played out in a double elimination best of 3, and with the top 2 advancing on to the quarterfinals. Now this, of course, is a little bit different, because we do have 2 locations for this Intel Extreme Masters. We're playing this out in Burbank right now. So the first 2 matches of each group will be played today, and then on Saturday we'll move on to all of the rest of the games, the other 3 matches remaining in each group. So today in Group A we'll have Rain versus HuK, True versus Snoot. Group B is first, Polt, Jaedong and Revival. Group C, 4GG, Gummio from yesterday, Hyun and Symbol. And Group D, double Intel Extreme Masters champion CJ Intus Hero, QXC, Bomber and Super. What stands out for you in terms of groups?
I'm not well, when it comes to the games, I'm not too sure which game stands out, but Groups A is my favorite, because I really think that Snoot can advance from that group in top 2. He's beaten True before in the previous Intel Extreme Masters. He can do it again. And closely followed by Group C. I really want to see if 4GG can go back-to-back and do well. And also everyone's looking at Gummio to see how well he can do at this event as well.
There's something in there for everyone, though, isn't there? I mean, I personally got a bit of a... You know, I like Group B. Looks really good, fun. Polt's in there as well. Jaedong's in there. Fan favourites first is in there again. And then you have 2 teammates in the same group, so it's got a bit of spice to it. I quite like that. But the Group D offers plenty as well. There's plenty for everyone in this. It's nice and balanced.
Yeah, I mean, Bomber is a player who recently is playing the best he's ever played, and then you've got Hero, who is that multiple Intel Extreme Masters champion, and everyone's looking at those 2 to eventually meet, probably in the winners match, and that's going to be a very good game.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that. So we're going to start things off this morning with our first group game of the day. From Group A, it's going to be Rain versus HuK. It's a bit of a baptism of fire for our Canadian friend. He had the same kind of deal yesterday when he had to take on probably the best player in the bracket and went down. He's got to do exactly the same thing in Group A. These 2 players, when you look at them as a freshman, if you like, to StarCraft, you look at them on paper and you go, okay, Rain's got 3 Premier titles, had a pretty good 2014, 3rd, 4th in GSL, 3rd, 4th DreamHack Moscow. HuK's had a 3rd, 4th at Red Bull Atlanta, and he's won 3 Premier titles in his career. On paper, they look evenly matched, but it's not like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you look at the finer print, you'll start to notice when tournaments were won. In StarCraft, winning a tournament in 2011 to winning a tournament in 2014 is a major, major difference. Skill is very different these days.
Absolutely.
So that's the main difference between, if you look at
I
it.
saw a comment yesterday, which was on the Team Liquid Live report, which we love reading, by the way. Well done, people on that one. Keep that one coming. Who said, yeah, HuK's absolutely right. 2014's HuK would destroy 2011 HuK because he wouldn't fall for hallucinated phoenixes.
It's a true comment, I suppose.
Bit of fun on the live report, as ever. Go and check it out on Team Liquid. Also, these two, when you look at their matchups statistically this year, it's quite interesting, actually. HuK's best matchup is this matchup, PvP. By a long way, actually. He's up in the 60-odd% margin. Unfortunately, for his opponent, Rain, it's his worst matchup statistically. But he's still, well up in the 60% region. But again, I don't think you can really compare the two in terms of where they've played, in terms of the locations. That's going to make a big difference.
Again, I mean, if you look at the overall story, you can see that. But again, if you tune into the finer details, you look at who they've played against. Rain plays in the toughest region, the toughest competitions against the toughest players. HuK, not the same, obviously. Very different.
Map-wise, I think that's the first time we've seen Nimbus get through.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yesterday we were stuck on Sejong and Catalina and Overgrowth pretty much the whole day, and today we're going to get Merry-Go Round, and we're going to get, well, potentially could get Nimbus as well. Why?
Yeah, in this mirror matchup, they don't have to worry about playing a Terran or Zerg, and those are the maps that they don't want to play Terran or Zerg on. In Protoss versus Protoss, it's not too much of a problem. Obviously, which match favors which strategies and which race. It really comes down to preference on what they prefer to play on.
Okay, we're going to head over to our commentary desk, but before we do, just a quick heads up for you. A little bit later on, in fact, at the end of this first match, we're going to be announcing something very, very cool indeed, something that's never happened for the Intel Extreme Masters, so keep your eyes peeled towards the end of this match. But for now, let's enjoy our opening game of Group A with Rotterdam and Todd.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much, Sean. Of course, we are so ready for this first series of the day, PvP, Johan. It's not just a PvP, it's Rain. It's my boy Rain.
It's so much more than just a PvP. Yes, these two, they're actually, I would say, like probably two of my personal favorite Protosses. HuK in PvP are two great, I guess, so to speak, analysts here on the couch. Paul and, Red Eye and Apollo talked a little bit about it, and statistically, it might be Rain's worst matchup. But very recently, actually, I casted a tournament online hosted by Base Rate TV in which he had to face Trap in finals, the same Trap that beat SOS 4-0 at Battlegrounds Washington. And I was like, you know what? Going into these finals, I think Trap is the favorite. Rain 4-0'd him and made it look super easy. So it's going to be tough for HuK here, even though it's his best matchup and he's always played it super well in those big tournaments. I remember actually Hero losing to HuK.
Yeah, more than once.
MLG, yeah, many times when Hero was supposed to be that one guy who was super sick in PvP as well.
I mean, HuK even won that MLG back then when there were already a lot of Koreans, one of the biggest victories of his career. Of course, HuK had a lot of victories early on, but once the Koreans came over, everyone thought it was going to be impossible for a foreigner to win MLG. Not for this guy on your screen right now, HuK. He did win at MLG, and that was also in the final against a world-class Protoss player back then, MC. So he knows what it takes, but he also knows that this one is going to be incredibly difficult.
What do you think about the maps here? I'm a little bit surprised that the map order is going to be Overgrowth, Merry-Go-Round, and Nimbus. Like Overgrowth, okay, but usually I would expect Sejong to be in there more often than not, and then Merry-Go-Round, I guess for PvP is not that unusual, but then Nimbus to finish things up? Is it time for some Roddy builds? Or what?
Nimbus is a tricky map when it comes to PvP as well. Of course, it's not as scary as it would be in a PvP matchup, but it's a map where you can hide stuff, especially in PvP. We see that quite often as well. Something I mentioned yesterday during one of the games is that in the old glory days of PvP, there were a lot of world-class Protoss players who had a very easy approach to PvP. When smaller maps, they would go on with gateway pressure, blink stalkers, figure out what we're playing against. But on some of the bigger maps, they used to really favor these styles of like proxy a dark shrine somewhere on the map, because it's very difficult early on as a Protoss player to check every single corner of the map, because we don't have Zerglings that you can just run around. Like making a Zealot is already an investment into your build order, and you don't really want to have a probe running around. And even if you have one probe, it's very unlikely that one probe checks every single little corner on Nimbus. Like that normally doesn't happen.
I remember the first time that you mentioned the proxy dark shrine and I was casting with you, it was on Alterzim and we were casting an online cup, and then I was like, nah, that will never happen, and then it happened in that one game that you mentioned it in. So okay, I'm gonna keep it in mind.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll ask for predictions here and there, but on Overgrowth, to start things with? Well, what are you thinking here?
I think that HuK is going to play this pretty straightforward. I think HuK is going to play this without fear. Like, you can't go into a series knowing like, oh, normally I like to do this, but I'm going up against Rain, so maybe he's going to out-micro me. No. HuK always has confidence in his micro, so I think he's going to be active. I think he wants to figure out what he's playing against as soon as possible. I wouldn't be too surprised if he tries to open up with something a little bit of a commitment, like let's say a straight up 3 gateway opening and try to put on some pressure. Maybe because a player like Rain is often running around with units early on in the map as well. So maybe if you can catch one of these units off guard, then you can suddenly make something happen with your 3-stalker opening. We'll see. I think it's going to be a very fun series to kick things off with. Like you said, Johan, our first map of the day. This is the main event. Well, it's sort of the main event. We're playing the main group stages. It's going to be this awesome PvP between this man, my favorite Protoss player in the world, spawning on the right top side of Overgrowth, recently joined a new team. I think this is officially like his first big tournament for them. Of course, my insanity, it is Rain. Look at that handsome man. He's so handsome. He's my favorite Protoss.
I'm sure he thinks the same about you.
And he's like my every man crush Monday. Every single Monday. It's like man crush Monday, it's still Rain. Doesn't change.
His opponent starting at the bottom of the 10 side corner, it's HuK, who sent out a probe very early on, so we're gonna have some, I guess, a little bit of a proxy happening here in the first game by HuK, most likely hoping that Rain's not gonna scout for it so that he can get a build-order win, I guess, with a nice cheese early on.
I wouldn't even call this a little bit of a proxy, Johan. This is a pretty big one. I think he's gonna build 2 gateways in Rain, his main base. Well, we're not gonna wait a very long time to get our feet wet today, as the action is gonna kick right off. We'll see if this is going to get scouted for Rain. Johan.
So much for not being scared and playing standard.
Maybe he's a little bit scared after all.
You know, what's really interesting is all the players that join My Insanity, they show such insane results right after, like every time after joining. Stardust joins, comes to DreamHack, wins. Same for Saxry.
Okay, so this is already getting very exciting. I totally agree with you, by the way. Saxry has been on a roll as well. I know you Europeans like to hype him up quite a bit, but he deserves it. He's a world-class Zerg player. Rain is going to check the corner of his base now, and now he's going to find 2 gateways.
It's very late, though.
Yeah, he already warped in 2 assimilators. He cancels 1 immediately. Good call there by Rain. I still wonder what his approach is going to be.
I don't think you can hold like this.
No, I think because the Zealots almost spawn in your mineral line. Like, what do you do if you're Rain? Do you make Zealots and a Cyber Core with a Mothership Core?
I just said I don't think you can hold here, but I'm going to take that back and say I don't think you can hold unless you're Rain. Like when Rain is playing, there is always a chance no matter what, and he knows better than other people. Personally, I would have panicked, cancel both gases, throw down the Forge.
Yeah,
but then my opponent could just maybe take 2 Stalkers, get too many Zealots, and overpower me. With Rain here, I think what he's going to try to do is get 2 Zealots in a row, get a Mothership Core, and then get a Stalker.
I think you're right. The Mothership Core is definitely going to be the way he's going to spend his first 100 gas. There's a small Zealot fight. Rain actually gets an extra swipe off, but this is the most tricky moment in the game if you're Rain right now. You're up 4 workers, but you can't lose too many. He does have 100 gas, so he can stop mining gas now. He's going to start his Mothership Core immediately. He's going to have to micro like a god. Then again, he is a god.
HuK needs some Roddy micro as well as Rain here, man. It's going to be very important to try and save as many of those probes for as long as possible for Rain here. Right now, he's still getting 1 more Zealots.
Yep, he's losing quite a few probes, but that's okay, because now he has that Mothership Core, so he will have some constant damage from this point on. But he kind of needs to wait until he has Photon Overcharge.
He's done really well so far.
Yeah, he's doing surprisingly well, but this is where it gets tricky though, because now we have an extra Zealot, and Rain has done such a good job in keeping his Zealots alive. He has 1 more Zealot.
HuK is running around with the Zealot on the top right-hand side, just leading on these 2 Zealots that are following him, and now he's going to go down.
Don't fight the Cyber Core.
Attack all of these probes.
Don't fight the Cyber Core. Okay, he's going to clean up these Zealots from Rain. This is really good. This is the moment where HuK needs to kill 5-6 probes for sure. And so far he's doing that. The worker count currently 13 against 12. So Rain is down in workers for the first time in this game. He's going to lose a few more. Photon Overcharge is still roughly 15 seconds away from completing.
Yeah, he's ahead on tech though. The Cybernetic score of HuK halfway through down. Surely he's going to keep on pumping out Zealots, but Photon Overcharge should be up here momentarily. 92 energy on that Mothership Core. So Rain has held, and HuK finds himself with, I guess, in a moment, unpowered gates.
Yep.
Oh, that's really nice here too, trapping that one Zealot here by HuK.
Okay, there goes that Photon Overcharge. So this 1 Zealot will only get a single probe, still better than nothing. But I think you're right, these gateways will get unpowered. The HuK's gonna have to throw up a gateway at home. Rain just made that look like, yeah, that's how you do it, boys. Like, it's really not that difficult. You just run around with your Zealots for a bit and you get a Mothership Core.
I can't believe he actually held this so convincingly. I mean, What the hell?
I don't know, Johan. This is just silly.
He's behind on walkers, but he's just so
So
far
far
ahead in tech.
tech.
And especially in terms of warp gates, he already has started his, whereas HuK had to invest into a mothership core. He just got enough gas to start his own warp gates.
I think this is actually game over, because this mothership core from Rain is going to have so much unanswered damage. It's going to take quite a while before HuK has anti-air. As we see right now, the gateways are not even done yet. He's going to start making his first stalker soon. His own mothership core has 70 energy, but HuK is going to lose more than just a few probes here. I think he's going to lose 6-7 workers, and that's going to give Rain such a convincing lead. Wow. Man, what a boss. He scouted it pretty late and he still handled it so well.
If you're Protoss and you watch this, you're gonna try to wanna react the same way as he did now, but you would die if you didn't.
It's really funny, because just the other day this happened to me on stream and someone was like, Roddy, why didn't you just make a mothership core? I was like, nah, it's gonna be too late, like you don't have enough damage output. Well, thank you for making me look very bad at this game, Rain.
It makes everyone look bad.
Yep. Oh, HuK is gonna have photon overcharge in 2-3 seconds, but like I said, he lost 6-7 workers in the blink of an eye, even more than that. He lost 9 probes total. One of course was a scouting probe. He has to really start using photon overcharge soon.
Yeah, so Rain, as much as he fell behind in terms of workers at first, now he's brought it back. He's 16 probes up against 10. He has an earlier warp gate. He's just in the driver's seat right now. He's in a great position.
Yeah. Incredible early game hold there by Rain. He did such a good job in making his zealots fight, but when they were almost about to die, just run them around, stack his probes, and of course you're going to lose a few probes here and there. That's inevitable, but the most important thing is that you buy enough time for your photon overcharge to be ready, and the moment there is photon overcharge, that you still have a working number that you can work with. And if you have 11-12 workers, if you're Rain, that's more than just being able to work with it. That's great for you. After that, you unpower the gateways, you run across the map, and you do just the same amount of damage that your opponent did. But like Johan said, you have better tech. Very, very well played so far by our My Insanity Protoss.
HuK is so broke, man. He has so little probes. And Rain, I really like that rather than basically choosing a tech path and doing whatever he wants, he sends the mothership core inside his opponent's base right now to get a clear scout on exactly what he's up against. He saw the Twilight Council, so he knows it's either going to be Blink or DTs, unless HuK could have cancelled, because he did have to recall pretty early here, otherwise the mothership core would have died. So good bit of information here by Rain. He knows it's not going to be a Stargate. He knows there is no robo up until now, even though one could come in. Just perfect play, I would say, so far.
If you're a financial advisor right now and you look at HuK's base, your heart is breaking down, because he has like 9 probes on his mineral line.
This is so sad.
Yeah, he's mining with 6 probes of his assimilator, so his gas income is fine. But 9 probes on your mineral line, that's almost what you start with. That's just not good at all.
Where's your EG money now?
he needs a lot of that dirty esports money. He's gonna get 1 force field down, but he does end up losing his mothership core. He's gonna wipe in another sentry. Will the force field be in time though? If these stalkers run up the ramp, this is absolutely game over. Okay. 1 force goes down, but you know, even right now, HuK is gonna have to wipe in a few more sentries, and the only thing that he's doing with his money and his gas is just wiping in more and more sentries, which, you know, eventually is really not going to be that fantastic for you.
You know, Rain, even though he saw that there was a Twilight Council, he's not panicking. He didn't rush for a robo that quickly, because he's like, I'm gonna put on some aggression, have some units back at home ready to force field as well the ramp in case there was to be DTs. And now he's forced so many sentries that he knows that basically there couldn't be any DTs possibly in this game, especially with how broke HuK is. So he starts the robo, he's gonna have Blink in a second against a lot of sentries, and he's just gonna win straight on from there.
It's 5 sentries against 2 stalkers now. One of the stalkers was a little bit low on HP. Look at that sentry control. Well done there. But HuK's actually doing this really well, but he needs to control. He needs to Oh, okay, he's a little bit late with the force fields, and now I think it's going to be very
supply
tricky.
blocked as well.
Yeah, sentries are not good against stalkers. Stalkers have bigger range, they're a lot faster. This is going to be, I think, the beginning of the end for HuK. He tried to stabilize, he tried to go for the comeback, but right now these stalkers, there's so much micro potential in these guys, and the units from HuK, they just don't really have a whole lot of micro
Rain
potential.
even starts a second Nexus, man. He's attacking and killing HuK, defending back at home and expanding at the same time. Yeah. This is like a reverse Roddy build here.
Well, it's reverse Roddy execution. I could have done the build, just not the execution. The good force field there by HuK. He's going to be able to pick off one of these stalkers. The worker count is still 27 against 22. Blink, I think, just finished up for HuK. So normally, no, actually, it's finished up for Rain. HuK was never even able to start his Blink because he had to wipe in 5 sentries and then 2 more, or at least 1 more.
It's crazy how well Rain has played this from start to finish. First the defense, and then, you know, rather than, you know, kind of fall asleep on his advantage, take a gamble here and there, he's like, no, I'm just going to check everything you're doing, keep on being aggressive, macro at the same time.
Here is the pain train. He has Blink stalkers, Johan. He has a few more stalkers entering the main base of HuK. HuK just loses his stalker, loses his sentry, and will tap out. GG, My Insanity Rain defends the very, very aggressive, cheesy opening from HuK in style and takes a very convincing Game 1 victory. What a boss.
You know, actually these days, Protosses haven't been doing super well in tournaments. At DreamHack, you know, they lost very hard to Terrence. Only at Home Story Cup was Sparling, you know, able to beat Flash in the finals. I feel like this tournament we might have a very strong Protoss performance. The top 16 is 5 Protosses, 5 Terrence and 6 Zergs. But you have guys like Hero, Rain. Like, could this be the finals of this tournament? Like, I feel like there's a good chance he's going to be like for 4 GG and these guys to stop them.
Yeah, wow, that would be a finals that would make me very excited. Maybe some of the non-Protoss players wouldn't be too excited about that, but I would love me a Hero versus Rain final. Just look at the micro one more time. This is normally that tricky phase, you know, it's 3 Zealots. Look how Rain is fighting with his Zealots, but he makes sure that they never die. Yeah, he loses a few probes, like I said. It's inevitable that you lose a few workers, but he forces HuK to go back. Here, just one more time. This is also a tricky moment. There are like 5 Zealots running around from HuK. And even though I was like, oh, this is where it goes wrong for Rain, because he's going to lose a few Zealots over here. And he does lose a few Zealots, but he bought so much time. The Mothership Core is doing its job. He has one more full HP Zealot spawning on the gateway right now. And he's stacking the workers. Worker count 12 versus 13, but like you said, Johan, he already has the Cyber Core, he has the Assimilator, he has the Mothership Core. Photon Overcharge will be available in the near future, and that's all you need to do against this opening from HuK. And I make it sound easy, but it's not.
Yeah. You know what's funny about this? Like, every Protosses that watch this, I'm sure they're thinking, oh wow, HuK actually proxied Rain and beat him, I can do that too. Actually, no, you can't, because Rain holds it anyway.
I know. Normally, when you already have your second Assimilator warped in, I think it's kind of late. Like, it gets very difficult. Like, if these gateways are outside of his main, then I was like, yeah, I think Rain can still do it, you know, because it's Rain and there is a lot of distance that these Zealots have to cover before they reach the mineral line. These Zealots were very close to the mineral line, but Rain, out of this world, Johan. Sorry, I'm a fanboy, but...
I mean, I'm a fan of Rain too, but what did we learn here? I learned that I can't proxy and I can't defend it either. Because I'm not Rain. It's not very comforting.
It's like one of these moments where it's really beautiful to watch him. At the same time, it's a little bit depressing because, you know, like, you're like, he makes it look easy. This is my race. Like, I want to complain, but I can't because this is what I play. Anyways, we are loaded into map number 2 of the Intel Extreme Masters group stage main event. Over here on the right top side of merry-go-round, we have the Evil Geniuses Protoss himself. It is Chris Loranger, HuK. Probably a little bit surprised by how that played out as well. It's really funny when you're like the proxy player and then you're like hiding in the main and you're like, please don't check, please don't check, please don't check, please don't check. It's like the most intense 30 seconds of your StarCraft career, and then like he eventually finds it. It's like, I think I can work with this, but
actually you can't. And his opponents, starting in the southern part of merry-go-round, it is Mind Sanity's Rain, who played a superb first game here. And yeah, like I was saying before, man, everybody that joins Mind Sanity is just bound to win tournaments. He's already won one recently, but that was online. Now it's time for perhaps an offline win. Actually, he chose not to play in the Hot 6 Cup to attend this tournament. That's pretty insane of a choice here. Like, that's commitment.
You take your words right out of my mouth. I was about to say this. We mentioned this a few times yesterday, but Rain had the option to play in one of the other very prestige tournaments as well. A tournament that he has actually won in the past. He won the GSL Hot 6 Cup. But he said, like, nope, this time I would like to go to the Intel Extreme Masters in San Jose. I qualified for it, so I just want to go. Well, so far, so good for Rain. Of course, he would love to play in a stadium where we're going this weekend. Had some tweets coming in as well. The people asking, when are you guys going to the main venue? This is the last day that we play here. Today we do 8 best of 3s, so every player will play 1 best of 3 from all the groups. Of course, 2 best of 3s a group. We have 4 groups, that's 8 best of 3s. And then on Friday, everyone drives up to San Jose. Some people may fly, but most people drive. It's a nice drive. And then on Saturday and Sunday, that's where the big show starts. I'm a sports fanatic, Johan, as you know, and I think it's super cool to go to arenas like the San Jose Shark Tank or the stadium of the San Jose Sharks, which is of course an NHL team for the people who don't know.
I don't watch regular sports, man. All I care about is esports.
You know, I am just a StarCraft fan, but you are a Blizzard game specialist.
Okay. Oh wow, HuK pulling the probes here to try and snipe Rains, but Rain gets away. I really don't see any weaknesses recently when I see Rain play. Like that one tournament that he won online, he just crushed through people left and right. 4-0 trap in the finals, looked invincible.
You did mention that his style, I think Apollo, or it was either you or Apollo yesterday, that his style is a little bit different. Because in the old days, he used to just never really go for the win. He was always just like, I'm going to outplay you and I'm going to enjoy every single minute of it.
He was very passive and barely ever cheesed. And then he started having a lot worse results, kind of fell off the map for some time. And then at some points, he came back and had to play some matches and did some very interesting cheeses and attacks.
Interesting build here by HuK. He's going for the build that I mentioned before the series started. This is a build that HuK likes to do. You open up with 3 gateways. It's quite a commitment. It's not an all-in, but it's a commitment. You definitely want to get stuff with this done. And Rain is going for a 1-gate fast expand. He's going to follow it up with a robotics facility. On paper, I kind of like how this is shaping up for HuK. If he catches one of the units off guard, but we'll see. It all comes down, of course, to execution. But if he's able to maybe get some free volleys off on this Stalker, maybe just cancel the expand, you know, and then expand himself, and then maybe get a sentry, contain Rain for a bit. On paper, this is looking all right for the EG Protoss. We'll see how it actually plays out.
Man. I think even if I wasn't watching the game, I would like what Rain's doing, because it's always so beautiful and perfect. Rain here, the trick is going to be in maybe buying a little bit of time and trying to get that expansion up to get the photon overcharge off, and chrono boosting out Immortals obviously going to be the key against all the Stalkers that could be assaulting him.
Yep, and of course Rain also doesn't want to be contained.
Oh, can he trap 1 or 2?
That's a good force field. That is a really, really good force field. There's a lot of DPS in this little army of Rain. The 2 sentries, the Stalker and the Mothership Core. HuK is going to pick up 1 Stalker, but it's still an unfavorable trade in the end because he loses 2 Stalkers just for 1 Stalker. And let's not forget, this Nexus has a lot of HP and there is a Photon Overcharge available. Oh no, don't do that, HuK. That's really risky.
That top 3 control, man.
I would have been very, very scared if he ran up that ramp.
Yeah, I would have lost some Stalkers and not really done much. HuK really on the aggression
here.
No,
don't do it, HuK. Okay, that's going to be painful. There is an Immortal. This Immortal is going to hammer its way through these Stalkers of HuK. I would like to point out, well, Rain has lost 2 units actually. He lost the Stalker, and what else did he lose, Johan? Let's take a look. Oh, he lost the probe.
Unacceptable.
So Rain lost 1 Stalker and 1 probe.
He's swapping in sentries.
Yeah, he wants to contain Rain, but it's going to be too late now. Rain is not going to sit on top of his ramp anymore.
He's getting 1 more gates. He's going to get sentries and zealots and try to force field off the units after the photon overcharge is gone.
Okay, so what I mentioned earlier is that the 3-gate opening doesn't have to be super all-in, but if you get 1 more gateway and you just make it a straight-up 4-gate, well, that's an even bigger commitment than the 3-gate is already.
You know what's crazy? If Rain wasn't scouting for this, he wouldn't know what's up. But he sent a unit across the map, which actually just got intercepted, I think, by the Mothership Core. The Mothership Core just killed that 1 probe from Rain, which had escaped the base.
2 more force fields going down for Rain, gets 1 Stalker, the second Stalker, very low on HP.
This is not happening. HuK is just expanding now, but he's so far behind.
Yeah, and he has no tech. He's sitting on 4 gateways.
HuK's only chance, I feel right now, is like if Rain moves out and HuK goes into his main, force field him out.
Get to use the dirty Protoss tactics in a matchup where we normally don't see them super often. HuK is going to check the main base of Rain. Maybe hope that Rain sends a bunch of units into the main, and then HuK can go for the natural. Maybe then he can ambush it. But I feel that Rain has such a good read on this PvP so far. He's not falling for this stuff.
Even leaving some Stalkers in his main.
Rain almost gets the Mothership Core. HuK will get away barely. Was forced to use the Time Warp and has only 4 HP left on it. Army supply, it's 37 against 32, but the expand for Rain is so much quicker, and he has a robotics facility. You know, he doesn't have to sweat this.
HuK right now, he would love for Rain to just move out so he could force field him out, but he might be the one going for the attack here, and force fields are going to be important for both players. I think, yeah, Rain's are just going to be better here. Traps 2 Stalkers in. Wow. Rain's going to lose that Immortal, supposedly.
Maybe the Mothership Core can get the alley-oop on it. Oh, good forces from the low ground. Yeah, HuK does get 1 Immortal. That's something he can work with, but here is another Photon Overcharge, and you just can't fight in range of Photon Overcharge with the units that HuK currently has. I love how Rain is using those Immortals as well to always shoot at the Stalkers. The Mothership Core is going to go down. This last resource step pretty much tells the tale of this game so far. Rain has been ridiculously cost-effective for this being a mirror match.
And Rain's hallucinated Phoenix just scouted HuK's entire base. He knows everything there is to know. He saw the 4 gateways. He knows that HuK has absolutely no tech. He might just go forward and just kill his opponent right out.
Yep.
Because, hey, why not?
What's going to kill these Immortals? HuK lost his Mothership Core, so Rain knows as well. It's like, hey, you're not going to have Photon Overcharge, buddy. It's going to be really difficult for you. Your sentries are very slow retreating at home, so my Stalkers will be able to pick off 1, maybe even a second one. Oh, Stalker, what are you doing? Don't block the sentry. HuK has a few force fields, though, so Rain has to be a tiny bit careful. But Army Supply now 35 against 28. Warp Tap 40 against 31.
Rain made a War Prism.
Oh,
what do you think?
I don't think
HuK's moving down.
I don't think HuK should be going here. I mean, he might
has
get
some Zealots to tank, but they are going to expire. And as soon as they expire, there's going to be way too much for Rain, who just pulls back behind the force field. What do you think the War Prism is for? Did he want to drop up the ramp or something with everything? Elevator? PvP elevator?
Yeah, maybe he's like, hey, you try to contain me, my main. What if I contain you in your natural?
That's a lockdown if I've ever seen one.
Okay.
Actually, a lockout, I guess.
I
Just
mean,
like
Rain knows that HuK doesn't have Photon Overcharge available. A few more forces going down. HuK actually getting a couple of favorable trades here, that's well. But he has to react well to this Warp Prism that's about to enter the main. And this is tricky. You can't just warp in a few Stalkers because there is Big Papa in the Warp Prism.
6 more gates for Rain here in the Templar Archive. He doesn't want to slow down. He doesn't want to take his time here. He just wants to kill his opponent right out.
Okay, HuK is actually, I must say, over the last minute or so, HuK has been getting a couple of okay trades. Of course, Rain is still in a really good position. He's still up 10 workers. He's still been getting trades, but those few force fields by HuK, yeah, that was pretty well done.
I just realized Rain was on only 2 gates this entire game. I thought he was on 3 plus the Robo. It was just the initial 2. That's why he added 6 more. You can go up to 8 gates like this on 2 bases, and then as soon as you stop using the Robo, you're gonna have enough money to use all of them. So I think he might just wait for a little bit here, get some Archons, and then just go for the kill. And force fields are not going to be enough anymore.
Yep, of course the Archons can break the force fields. HuK still has to worry about this Prism. It's very, very frustrating when you have to deal with a Warp Prism and you don't have Photon Overcharge, especially if there's an Immortal or
Surprise!
Big Papa, like I like to call him. Look at Big Papa. His guns are blazing. His guns are ready. HuK's gonna pull all the units. Oh, he has to be careful. Oh, a few force fields going down. Gets a Stalker for 5 force fields. Not ideal. Would have been nice for HuK if he gets a little more than just that. But Rain, like you said, Jon, he has ridiculous production. He's working off these 8 gateways. He's just able to overpower HuK over here.
He's
8
get charged in a second. He has an earlier +1, which is about to finish.
And there we have the force field on the ramp. You try to contain me, I'll show you how you contain the Protoss. Look at
lockdown, man.
Look at him.
Major's favorite lockdown. GG. And Rain takes the clean victory here, 2-0.
Did you see that? He didn't break the sweat.
He is not, man.
He's sharing at the screen. He's like, was this a ladder or was this the extra tournament? Ah, it was the extra tournament. That's great.
We were warming up, right?
Yeah, I'm 2-0. He's like, wow. So this actually means that Rain is already done for today. Rain will advance to the winner match in Group A, which will be played at the big venue on Saturday, where he will go up against the winner of the other series in this group, which is Snoot versus True. That's going to be a cracker, as Paul likes to say. And I think actually that may very well be our next best of 3, because I think we're going to wrap up Group A before we hop into other groups. Johan, is there anything else you want to say about this series?
I'm pretty impressed by Rain, obviously. You know, his first match here, it really delivered, and no, I cannot wait to see him later in the tournament. And I'm so sad, actually, that we're going to have to wait until after tomorrow. Oh, man. I guess we're going to have some good games still more today, but that was really cool.
You know, on paper, the gauge of HuK can work, and I'm sure that HuK has made it work in similar scenarios, but it's just the very first force field by Rain was already so good. You know, let 1 Stalker squeeze up, that's perfect. If he lets 2 Stalkers squeeze up, then it gets a little tricky. Actually, no, he did let 2, but if all 3 go up, then suddenly your sentries will die. Letting 2 Stalkers squeeze up, that's just enough, because he had a Stalker, he had a Sentry, and he had a Mothership Core, and that, of course, has a little bit more DPS. Like, MS Cores can't retreat, but if they're standing on top of the fight, they actually push out more damage than Stalkers normally do. You know, they're not the greatest units, the regular attack, but if they're standing on top of a Stalker and you know that you can't really focus down the Mothership Core because it has too much HP to kill with just 2 Stalkers. So good force field there on the ramp by Rain, and after that, he waited so long with his Photon Overcharge, and when he finally used it, you know, he was in a really good position. He was doing it all of 2 gateways, but just pretty much flawless defense by him.
What's so impressive is that everything's on point. You know, every single force field's on time, no mistake here and there. Like, he made it look easy when HuK will crush 99.9% of people that play StarCraft. So like it's like this one guy is one of the only ones that can do this. So that's just so impressive to me, because mistakes can be made very quickly in StarCraft too.
I couldn't agree more, especially at that game 1 as well, you know, when the gateways are in your main. Of course, we've seen Partick defend it in the past in a different way, but those gates were not in the main. Or also, you know, it's a smaller map, Habitation Station, you can do crazy things. On Overgrowth, you're really just going to have to defend. I would love to see what Rain thought when he saw those gateways in his base on Overgrowth, because, you know, most of those players would panic a little bit, but it seemed like he was confident that he could defend it all along. So, Paul, take it away and ask him.
Thank you very much, Roddy. Yes, Rain, well done. Congratulations on winning. Rotterdam was just saying about that the game on Overgrowth. Talk us through what your thoughts were on how the game went through and what happened with the gateways when you saw them. Did you panic as much as Rotterdam maybe thought you did?
일단 축하드리고요. 첫 경기에서 그 게이트웨이를 본진 안에 있는 걸 보고 무슨 생각이 드셨나요? 해설자들은 되게 놀라웠는데.
네, 사실 제가 그 하식스컵 때 당해가지고 김유진 선수한테 그래서 좀 의식을 하고 있었는데 진짜 할 줄은 몰랐는데 그냥 딱 볼 때 근데 제가 생각보다 좀 빨리 봐가지고 그냥 무난히 막을 수 있겠다고 생각했어요. 그냥 네.
So Rain says, I actually had this occur to me at the Hot Six Cup by SOS. And so it was a little bit on my mind that it might occur, and then it actually did. And I think I was very fortunate enough that I scouted it a little bit earlier on than I possibly could have. It could have been a much worse situation. I think it's because I found it so much earlier on that I was able to counter it and defend as well as I did. And Rain, obviously this was a PvP against HuK, who's known for being one of the best players in America. Obviously, the nature of PvP, a lot of people say it can be 50-50. Because of that, what was your mindset like going into this game? Did that shake your nerves at all? 많은 선수들이 약간 푸푸전이 약간 운이 많이 따라오는 전이다 뭐 이렇게 얘기를 하는데 일단 헉 선수 상대로 북미에서 잘하는 선수이긴 하니까 그래서 그런 것 때문에 약간 됐나요?
사실 푸푸전이 좀 운이라고 많이 말씀하시는데 어느 정도 좀 어떻게 보면 운이 맞고 저는 근데 약간 운이 아니라고 생각해가지고 실력도 많이 중요하다고 생각해가지고 푸푸전이 물론 헉 선수가 많이 잘하시긴 하지만 그냥 다른 전보다는 그냥 같은 종족전 해가지고 더 좀 편했어요 솔직히 푸푸전이어서.
So Rain says, I know that there are many people that talk about PvP and say that there is luck involved, and I'm not going to deny that there's no luck at all, but I personally think that it's a lot more skill, and I also think that HuK is a very good player, but compared to the other matchups, because it was a PvP, my own race, I was actually very comfortable going into this matchup.
Okay, that's interesting. There's a couple of things that people want to know on the internet that have left questions for you. I'm not going to ask you all of them because we'd be here all day, but it's great to have you at Intel Extreme Masters again. You were great at Cologne when you finished in the semi-finals. Is this your tournament? Because many people, Apollo, Rotterdam, Todd, have all told me this is Rain's tournament. Rain is here to win and there is no one that can beat him. Is that how you feel, or do you feel put under more pressure by that? How does it feel for you?
일단 이 대회에 온 것만으로도 너무 영광이고 그때 콜론에서도 되게 4강까지 갔잖아요. 그래서 일단 많은 사람들이 이번 대회가 정윤전 선수의 대회다. 무조건 우승할 수 있겠다. 이렇게 말을 하고 있는데 본인도 혹시 그렇게 생각하세요?
우선 솔직히 제가 예선 뚫고 왔거든요. 한국 예선. 근데 IEM 한국 예선이 제가 생각하기엔 한국 그냥 GSL이나 이런 대회랑 거의 비슷하다고 생각해요. 그만큼 힘든 대회를 뚫고 왔기 때문에 자신감은 있긴 한데 일단 제가 대회장도 좀 처음이고 좀 적응이 또 해외 팀 와가지고 처음 하는 대회여가지고 뭐 해외 대회는 많이 나가보긴 했어도 또 여기 경기장은 이제 처음이잖아요. 그래서 좀 적응하는 데만 수월하면 괜찮은 것 같아요. 시차 적응도 잘 돼가지고 지금 자신감은 있는데 혹시 또 변수가 있을 것 같긴 해요.
So Rain says, first of all, in order to even get here, I had to get through the Korean qualifier, which I have to say was basically like a GSL. It was incredibly difficult, and just getting through that qualifier has given me so much confidence, as difficult as it was. So that being said, I do have a lot of confidence going into this tournament. I will have to say, though, it's obviously my first time here at this, building and area, and because of that, adapting to that, I think, will be very important for me. Condition-wise, I'm not jet-lagged. I'm feeling very comfortable in that sense, which is really important for a lot of these players. So I think that will be the most important for me to get adjusted to this area in itself. And I think another thing that's important to mention is that this is my first time. I recently joined a foreign team, My Insanity. This is my first time at a tournament representing them. So there's a lot of bit of new changes. So those things are on my mind, but other than that.
I was actually going to ask you about My Insanity because they're a team that are based in Europe, in Switzerland. So I want to know how you're fitting in with the team. Is Jack G really as lovely as we think he is? And does Penguin suck? See, Rain already knows.
일단 My Insanity 팀으로 최근에 들어가게 됐는데 그 팀은 이제 최근에 들어갔지만 어떤지 그리고 우리가 보기에는 정지훈 선수가 되게 뭐 착하고 뭐 그렇게 좋아 보이는데 사실도 그런지 그리고 펭귄은 그냥 별로인지 농담으로.
우선 근데 제가 팀은 옮기긴 했는데 아직 팀을 한 번도 가보지 못했어요. 스위스에 있어가지고 제가 유럽 대회 가야지 만날 수 있을 것 같은데 그래도 지훈이랑은 옛날부터 친분이 있었는데 네, 그냥 되게 착하고 형들한테도 잘하는 동생이고 펭귄은 아직 잘 모르겠어. 겪어봐야지 알 것 같아요.
So he says, to be honest, I haven't met a lot of them yet because I've been in Korea and the team house is in Switzerland. But that being said, Jack G, I've known of him for a while, and he's always been known for being very, very kind. He's always respectful to his elders, and because he is older, so he likes Jack G a lot. Penguin, he says, I don't know. I'll have to meet him first, and then I'll let you know, Renee. I'll let you know.
Okay, all right, you do that. Well, congratulations, Rain. Thank you very much. And we'll see Rain again, of course, in San Jose at the SAP Center in downtown San Jose on Saturday. We've also got time to tell you about something brand new to the Intel Extreme Masters. It gives me a great privilege to announce that we have a very special deal with a new partner at Newegg. And right now, you can head over to newegg.com/IEM and purchase any hardware you might need. Don't just spontaneously go and buy stuff, or do if that's what you fancy doing. But you don't need to go. But if you're thinking about a hardware upgrade, go to this page, and every purchase you make, whether it's discounted or otherwise, will then have a percentage of the money you spend go to the prize pool for the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. I can't tell you how cool that is to hear, and I've got to give mad props to the guys at Newegg for coming up with a great deal for Intel Extreme Masters and for supporting esports. So if you've got any hardware that you'd like to purchase, head over to newegg.com/IEM, and you're actually saving esports, not killing it. Specifically the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. Fantastic idea, and we hope you partake in that. We're going to take a quick break now, but when we come back, we will go back into Group A with another match, and guess what? It's Foreigner time.